Yo, what's up with y'all, man? I hope you're doing good. If you're new and you're a fan of the NBA, subscribe to this channel. So let's get straight into it.
It's like it's Minute Maid, hijack 4, renegade, 24, number 8, Kobe shit fade away, ballin' since 11th grade, still in school, let them hate.
So as you all know, due to all the madness going on right now, we probably won't see the NBA draft happen until 3 to 4 months from now. That's a very long time, and I gotta continue to pump out videos to entertain my dogs. I got so many ideas stashed right now that you guys don't even know about. Today though, I just wanted to throw out a couple scenarios, situations, just to have a vibe-worthy conversation as usual, one-on-one or one on 10,000 of you. And depending on how much you guys love this combo and destroy that like button, then I could possibly expand on it again on another day. But today we're having a competition, a battle. I'm gonna use the word battle because that sounds way more intense. A battle between these two draft classes, 2018 and 2019. I have a series of questions to fly at y'all, and I don't really want to waste no more time, so I just need you to sit back and indulge as usual. I got this. Now these two classes that we're speaking on today are of course hella recent, and it's far too early to take any of these statements said seriously, because all these young players need much more time to prove themselves, and others who are jumping from the start may fade away as time goes on in the league. It's scary because that sounds like a Tyreek Evans type beat, and also others may take years and years and years to blossom. Guys like Pascal Siakam, for example, wasn't lit until his 3rd year in the league, and that's when people considered him as one of the best young players that the league had to offer. So I'm just about, give me a second, let me grab my calculator real quick. I don't want to, give you guys any wrong answers. Pythagorean theorem, stat, cosine tan. 1000% sure that these situations are gonna happen throughout the year. So the very first question of this epic battle that we're about to witness is, who has the deeper draft class? Which class has more quality players throughout both rounds of the draft? So to answer this question, I'm personally probably gonna go with the 2019 NBA draft class. For now, it's pretty funny to say because the talk of the town last year around this time was that this draft class was gonna be weak after the first few picks. And I ain't gonna lie, I did what I wasn't supposed to do and I listened to those scouts and they did catch me slipping, but not for too long. As I'm going through the list of prospects chosen, it seems like most of the productive rookies were chosen between 15 and 30. There's just a lump of players that championship type teams fiend for. Guys like Brandon Clark, look, I ain't gonna lie, I've been kinda on this man's nuts since last year. He's a super valuable and productive, impactful big who knows his place. In the 2018 NBA draft class, there is not a single soul who is better than Brandon Clark, chosen from 15 to 30. And it doesn't stop there though. The same exact thing could be said about that man KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr. from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ain't none of those dudes over there in that selected area are messing with KPJ. I'm sorry Kevin Huerter, Josh Okogie, Dante DiVincenzo, or whatever your name is, bro. Y'all not better than KPJ. They weren't better than him this season, they won't be better than him next season, and so on and so forth. That's just how it's gonna be. Then there's guys like Matisse Thybulle, who was also one of the more productive players. Also, y'all thought I forgot about that man? I surely didn't. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I thought that man was gonna be still, but he ended up stinking it up his rookie year, but I still have faith in him. All those dudes that I just named from the 2019 class either have more potential than most of those dudes selected in that selective area in the 2018 class, or are already better than them. Which draft class is more star-studded? Now, going off of the timetable that we've been given, it's obvious it's the 2018 class, solely because of what Luka Doncic and Trae Young have become and what they're turning into. But following them is a surreal amount of potential all-star talent. The freaking former #1 overall pick DeAndre Ayton, I literally just talked about him in my last video. He barely gets talked about, and he's over here averaging 19 and 12. There's so many players from the 2018 class who could be the face or one of the faces of an organization. Jaren Jackson Jr., Ayton, MPJ, SGA. Bro, I don't know you, and I don't know if you can count, but that's a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dudes who could make an all-star game at some point in their career. And as for the 2019 class, I'm pretty sure that we can all agree that Zion and Ja are leading the charts for those dudes as well. They just don't have a strong group of soldiers like Trae and Luke. All those rookies as of now just didn't have the chance to reveal their true potential yet. They need more time. So that's that, and the seniority that the 2018 class clearly takes this battle. Which draft class would make the better starting 5? For the first time in NBA history, the first 5 picks in the draft actually made all rookie first team. Now I'm not too sure if that'll happen in the class of 2019. So let's go ahead and put the best combo of talent together and see who will be the first to decapitate each other if they're hypothetically to play a game against one another. Now obviously Zion and Ja will be leading the charge at the 1 and 4. Now since those two aren't necessarily great shooters, they're going to need shooters surrounding around them. And for that reason, I'm playing Tyler Hero at the 2 and Brandon Clark at the 5. In my opinion, I believe that Tyler Hero is a sharpshooter before anything else on the court. Yeah, he has handles, he has the capability to create a shot for himself and others at times, but his bread and butter is stroking that ball from deep. Before the season even started, I predicted that this this man was gonna shoot 40% from 3 this season. And in just 47 games into his NBA pro career, he's just 0.7 away from reaching that mark. He's currently a 39.3 3-point shooter in the league, and as far as Brandon Clark, he's a much better shooter than he's been portrayed to be. He only attempts 1 3 per game, which is really crazy to think about, but this man actually has nice form, and he should be taking way more over there in Memphis. Dude can shoot. His free throw percentage is a direct indicator of that. If he was at the low 70s and high 60s in free throw percentage, I wouldn't start the man at the 5, but thankfully it's not, and it's ticking towards the 80% mark. So far I have Ja at the 1, Tyler Herro at the 2, Zion at the 4, and Brandon Clark at the 5. 4 very easy decisions for me to make personally, but here's where things get kind of tricky and kind of weird. The 3 spot. RJ Barrett. Mans doesn't fit this starting lineup at all. Like, it can work, and if all these dudes were to team up, like, they would seriously win some games. But it just wouldn't be a seamless fit because RJ is a non-shooter on the court. So here's the thing. I'm gonna be bold. Not biased, but bold, and not start RJ, but start DeAndre Hunter. Not because Hunter is a better player. Hell no, he's not. Promise you, I don't think that he is at all. Knicks fans, I swear to God, I'm only doing this because he fits the description of what this starting lineup needs. He's only starting because he's the more sensible fit. DeAndre is a much better shooter and off-ball player who works well with ball-dominant PGs. So it's Ja, Herro, Hunter, Zion, and Brandon Clark. That is a very, very nice, juicy, and sexy starting lineup if you ask me. You got them boys versus the dudes out of 2018, Trey, Luka, Shea, JJJ, and 8. I know you're thinking why the hell I would start SGA at the 3 when he's a guard, and also why wouldn't I start MPJ? Well, I'm doing this because defense is actually, it's a thing, and you have to play it in the NBA to be able to be successful. The thought of Trey, Luka, and MPJ does give me nightmares on offense, but they also give me nightmares on defense because they ain't stopping nobody. Trey Young reeks at defense, of course. MPJ isn't a defender, and Luka for sure isn't either. Trey, Luka, and MPJ all reek at defense, and they aren't defenders at all. So to ease the headache that will come alone by just Trey and Luka starting together, I would put SGA in the starting lineup. And I also think that he'd be a great fit because he get all that spacing on the court so he can do his thing and be crafty in that paint. So who would make the better starting lineup? Obviously, I'm going with class of 2018 because they obviously have more star power from question 1 or 2 that I just asked you. Trey's better than Ja, Luka's better than Tyler, SGA is way better than RJ Barrett, and at the 4, obviously Zion's better than JJJ, and at the 5, I'm taking Aiden over that man Brandon Clark. 2018 would give this class a spanking for sure. But let's expand on that question just a bit. Instead of just asking who would have the better starting 5, who would actually have the better 15-man roster? So we're gonna start with the class of 2018. We already know what the starting 5 is looking like, but we just need to focus on the rest of those 10 players. Colin Sexton is a must. His scoring all around the court is valued, and Wendell Carter Jr. is a must as well. Bagley is definitely getting in. His versatility could be useful. Same could be said about Mikal and Miles Bridges as well. The second round studs in Devontae Graham and Mitchell Robinson have to be invited too, and MPJ is the unstoppable scoring presence that's going to come off of the bench for him. But that's 13 players right there that we have in total a part of that team. We just need 2 more. And for the last 2, I'm going to lean towards Kevin Huerter and Josh Okogie's way. That is a super solid roster and a surefire playoff team if you ask me. Let's compare them to the class of 2019. Now we already know what the class of 2019 starting lineup is looking like. Now, as stated earlier, RJ Barrett ain't going nowhere. He is the 6th man of this team. He's going to be the one to lead the battle off of the bench. And it's mandatory to have Kobe White, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish, Rui Hachimura, and PJ Washington as well a part of this roster. Those are all very quality players, but don't you dare think for 1 second that I forgot about that man Kevin Porter Jr., one of my favorite players out of that draft. Low-key, if we're being real, that man actually may be a better player than RJ Barrett, but I'll save that for another topic of discussion. He's on the squad though, and so is Matisse Thybulle and Eric Pascal, who was the 2nd round stud. Now the class of 2019, as stated earlier, is deep, but once again, I ain't gonna lie, I just can't avoid the star power that the class of 2018 has. Bro, that's scary and intimidating. Now remember, class of 2018 is a lot more developed, and that has actually a lot to do with it. So I want you to keep that in mind, boys. Next question, which draft class is most likely to walk away with the most amount of collective accolades? Now I ain't gonna lie, this may just be the toughest question that I've asked out of them all today so far. Because we gotta account for things like the dunk contest, the MVP, 6th man of the year, most improved player of the year, 3-point championships. Yes, we're going there, bro. I want all of it. So in the class of 2019, the only 2 players that I see being capable of winning MVP one day are Zion and Ja. And the same thing could be said about the repetitive players I continue to repeat from the class of 2018, Trey Young and Luka Doncic. Now let's move on to the Defensive Player of the Year award. Now when I think about that award, I like to think that only 2 players are capable of winning it from these classes. And one of the 2 are Cam Reddish for obvious reasons. Manzo's a menace out there on the court and rips everything. And my second chaotic choice was Matisse Thybulle. The 6th man of the year award. Honestly, I feel like if KPJ doesn't end up reaching his high potential potential, then I can see him settling for a lesser but elite 6-man role for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the same can be said about that man Kobe White on the Bulls. The most improved player of the year award. Now I ain't gonna lie, for some really weird reason, I just have some gut instinct telling me that that award belongs to Sekou Doumbouya sometimes in the future. I say that because Sekou is someone who just oozes potential and has hella opportunity coming his way. All-Star Game MVP, that's easily going to Trezon or Ja. Bro, there's way too many awards over here to be talked about and discussed. So I think it's pretty safe to say from all my answers previously that the class of 2019 may have this one in the bag, only because they're a much deeper class. So the next and one of the final questions that I have to share with y'all is a very intriguing one. Which class had the most amount of players exceed expectations that were put on them? This actually has to be one of the most easiest questions. Easy because the class of 2019 had a lot of rookies who had a flop of a season. Cam, Hunter, Kobe White, Jarrett Culver, Darius Garland. Like, both of these dudes struggled heavy going into the year and didn't reach expectations, which is perfectly fine by the way. But the class of 2018 literally stomps out class of 2019 when it comes to this. Way too many people actually thought that Trey and Luka, the two best players from that class, were gonna be garbage coming out of the draft. Shout out to the dude that I run the Hoops Cast with on YouTube, by the way, go ahead and check that out, who had this terrible, garbage, trash, atrocious take 2 years ago. But guys like Jaren Jackson, Colin Sexton, and SGA were on something else, and they also surpassed expectations. So without a doubt, the class of 2018 had way more players do that. Leading into the final question of today's video with this oh so smooth transition. Which class had the most disappointments so far in their time in the NBA? So far, the class of 2019 easily. Why, you may ask? Well, because of what I just said like 30 to 45 seconds ago. Were you listening to me? I ain't gonna lie, I'm not saying it back. So what you need to do is run it back and run me my watch time. I need it all. So the champion of this video is the class of 2018. This could end up being one of the better drafts in recent history. If not, and some wild things happen between these guys' careers, well, at least they're the better draft in today's video. This is the end of the video though, man. I really do appreciate you for coming over here on my channel and seeing what I have to talk about today. That's a hella lit of you. And you know what I want you to do? I want you to go ahead and leave a like on this video. Share this video in your group chat that you have with your little friends and stuff like that. And I also want you to go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't already. And comment down your thoughts. Go ahead, feel free. That's what they're made for you to do. So I'd appreciate if you do all those things. And before I leave, I just want you to go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Talk to me because I'm a loner, and I want you to go ahead and make sure that you make your day great. I'll get right with you.
No way, remember back when I couldn't get a play, no home, I ain't have a place to stay, I got to work, made the shirt, free the way, told my girl who'd ever